Hey, everybody, and we are live with Master Sergeant. Retired yet or almost retired?
We're close. We're a week away.
Okay, so almost Master Sergeant retired Brad Thieroff up in Battle Creek, Michigan. Thanks for joining us, Brad.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. And hopefully I get to help somebody out there in your community today.
Our community. But I am excited about this. I love getting the opportunity to have people share their experience and educate others on, not just what opportunities are out there, but like how you navigated different hurdles that came up and approached yourself and how you were finding your success. So for anybody joining us today, if you are joining, please feel free to drop into the comments where you're joining from. And if you are getting out of the military or in the midst of a career search, let us know what you are looking for. We have a lot of recruiters and employers that sign on to these events, and it could create opportunity. Additionally, if you have questions for Brad or I, if some part of the conversation makes you say, and ask a question, go ahead and ask the question and we'll pull it up and we'll do our best to answer it live and on the spot. So, Brad, before we get to your story, I do want to thank, and this is very appropriate, the DLA Finance team. So DLA does what? They provide logistics support to the warfighter, right? They make sure that the equipment, the inventory, everything needed gets to where they need to go, right? For the warfighter to function. And DLA Finance is one of our partners. And so DLA Finance is bringing on SkillBridge interns, and they are ready as soon as hiring authorities come back to hire people in full-time roles, GS positions in 6 primary locations: Battle Creek, Michigan, New Cumberland, PA, Philadelphia, PA, Columbus, Ohio, Richmond, Virginia, and Fort Belvoir, Virginia. There is a small element in San Antonio, but that is only for those with accounts receivable experience. And so if you're interested in any of those locations and a career in the financial management side of the house, go to HireMilitary.us and let us know, and we'll reach out and see if we can get you lined up. Now, many of you may not know what DLA Finance does and what a business analyst or a financial analyst might do in DLA Finance, and even how the things you did in the military as a senior enlisted leader or an officer could apply to those jobs. And that's what we've got Brad for. Master Sergeant retired in a week, Brad Thieroff. So Brad, thanks for joining us. We've got another retired Master Sergeant First Sergeant Gary Steensgaard in the house. Thanks for joining us, Gary. So Brad, talk to us. What did you do in the military?
So I'm a career infantryman. Ever since I went active duty, I've been an infantryman. That's what I have done. I heard the horror stories from those that were above me. Better find a new job a little bit later on down the road, so that way you can do something in the civilian world. So I actually went to be a Bradley Master Gunner, and in between my platoon sergeant, first sergeant time, I actually went to battalion staff, and then I got moved up to be the brigade master gunner, and I served on brigade staff also.
Well, that doesn't sound like finance at all.
You wouldn't think so, but numbers are numbers at the end of the day. And me serving at the battalion and brigade level, managing ammunition numbers and shifting ammunition through different accounts, there is a relationship there.
Wow. So what made you decide on this DLA Finance internship? What made it attractive to you? What made you go to Battle Creek, Michigan? And where is Battle Creek, Michigan?
So Battle Creek, Michigan is in Southwest Michigan, smaller town, I should say. I am actually finishing out my military career up here in Michigan with ROTC. So before, originally we were going to move on to Fort Bliss to follow on for the Sergeant Major Academy, but my wife and my children, they found this small town that we live in. They think this is home. So it's my time to follow my wife and be there for my family now. So we're staying here. And I don't know what attracted me to Battle Creek, Michigan. I've listened to your lunchtime shows beforehand. And what I really picked up from that is I'm comfortable being an infantryman. I'm comfortable being a trainer. I needed to challenge myself. I don't know a whole lot about finance. I know 1 + 1 is 2. So I figured moving ammunition around through different accounts, I could go get a different perspective at DLA inside of Battle Creek here.
I love it. It does. So now you saw the internship advertised through our HireMilitary page. Is that what happened?
So what had really happened, roughly about 10 to 12 months away from my retirement date, I was going to do the WARTAC program and go do the VA thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once the hiring freeze kind of jumped in there, that canceled my plans. And then I became a little worried. I put all my eggs in one basket. So I was banking on doing this WARTAC program. A mentor of mine actually spoke about you. And one weekend I said, I'm going to just send Mike Quinn a message on LinkedIn. And then you took over and you started to mentor me from that point. And I got hooked into HireMilitary, and the one-on-one interaction between you and your organization, and at the time, Amber, it was phenomenal. I felt like I had a breath of fresh air at that point. I could take my stress levels down, and we started interacting from there. And that's additionally where DLA Finance came in.
Yeah, I don't even remember that, by the way. Mm-hmm. No offense. I talked to so many people, so I was okay. I was nice. I told you what you needed to hear.
Yeah. No, you did. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. You were phenomenal. And I appreciate that. I was just some random guy that was so naive, so ignorant, just reached out and sent a message. And I found HireMilitary, and your lunchtime, everything you do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I follow along and I learn as much as possible. Awesome.
I am very direct. I don't want to say blunt. Blunt has a negative connotation. So I am very direct in my response to people because I'm replying to so many. Mm-hmm. And so I try to be direct, and also to like kind of rip the Band-Aid off to set people on the right path instead of the. So I'm glad it all worked out. So DLA Finance, moving ammunition around. Did you get some help tailoring your resume to apply for the role?
So when I originally did the one-on-one interview with Amber at the time, she actually took the time out of her day to mentor me and help me understand resumes. I had never done 21 years in the Army. I had never done resumes. And she actually took the time to help me understand what it was, or what should be included in a resume, and not the vague things that I originally had in there beforehand.
Like cross-functional leadership and all the other.
Yeah. All the duties and descriptions from my NCOER like that. Yeah, no, let's get some specifics on that.
Okay. So you did a one-on-one with Amber. She's like, hey, your resume needs work. Here's the things you need to add.
Yep.
Did you just focus on adding the numbers and specifying it to the role?
No, I actually took the time to let me understand a resume instead of just copying and pasting information in there, because once you truly understand what recruiters are looking for, your resume process becomes 10 times easier. And actually lining that up with the job announcement or the description and tailoring in that to the job description. So the NCOER is actually a great tool to help you with this, because it's years and years of data that you have already done. You just need to, I guess, spin that into, I guess, civilian language.
But you need to make sure it aligns directly with that job. Like,
yes.
Like saying I'm responsible for X thousand rounds of ammo sounds cool. Nobody really thinks about it from a numbers perspective until you say it's the same, like you're tracking ammo like you would track dollars.
Right.
You know, you have to put it into words and you have to align it to the specific jobs for which you're applying. Correct. And with a little bit of help and a little bit of time, it's not that hard.
It's really not. It's really, I've been doing resumes for the past week here, and it's, once you get it, it's just tweaking things a little bit, but getting them to understand it's not the managing of the ammo. It's what did I do to manage the ammo? Yeah. So the TAMUS account, or working with customers or battalions.
Yep. I love it. Okay. So you get in, and what position did you do as an internship at Battle Creek, Michigan?
So I fulfilled the business analyst role within DLA Finance in Battle Creek here.
So what's a business analyst do in DLA Finance?
much like I thought we just analyzed business. So
I was fell out of my chair on that one.
That's just a general term. I should say that's just a very vague general term. So actually getting into the position, it is actually analyzing the day-to-day or month-to-month business, the execution pieces of the business, and looking for trends, either previous trends, and then helping that develop for the future. So how we can improve as an organization.
Can you share an example of that? Because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I really don't understand. I don't even understand like exactly what that means day to day.
So, for example, inside of the Battle Creek, I should say, let me start with the major structure of DLA. Okay. Inside of there is 6 major subordinate commands. For example, disposition services, which I fulfilled. There is, I got it written down here, I'm sorry, aviation, land and maritime, energy, and then distribution. So inside of those 6, we as a business analyst or the finance portion, we are there to support disposition services. So they have stakeholders all over the world globally, and we interact with them on a day-to-day basis. And we are more or less their, I guess we could say like their bank accountants, and we process their financial transactions for them. So as they are doing that, we are also maintaining financial records or information for the future at the same time. So we are analyzing the work that they are doing and then looking for those opportunities where we could help them with being more cost effective.
Okay. Can you give me an example without using real numbers?
Could you make that question a little bit more specific, Mike?
Yeah, like give me an example of one thing that you did in that internship, or one thing that you sat next to someone like we analyzed the transaction. Like, so let's say 18 drones needed to get to country A or whatever. You know, what was your role of that? Like one of the transactions that you supported, or one of the analytical efforts that you supported while you were in that internship?
Yes, sir. So disposition services, they have their own, we'll say, resource managers that handle that type of action. They'll go through contracting or whatnot. And then once they are done with that portion, they will send us the financial transactions, and then we will process them for them and monitor them to make sure that they are within the left and right limits for that contract.
Okay. All right. So a lot of analysis to make sure that all the right processes are being done, that, you know, it's documented appropriately, it's all within scope and everything else like that.
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right. That's pretty cool. Now, how did that align to what you did as a master gunner?
It's a good question. So I will tell you that what I thought I used to be good, I thought I was good at Excel until I got to this position in this internship.
Don't ever say you're good at Excel unless you really know all the codes.
Yeah, I put my foot in my mouth on that one, and they gave me a little project, and turned out I was not good at Excel. And here I am Googling and YouTubing how to use Excel a little bit better. So
hold on. For anyone dial in, do not say you know Excel unless you really know how to do a lot more than just put numbers into columns and expand columns and freeze panes. Like, you got to know how to run computations. You need to be able to, you know, set everything up so that like everything you put in these columns here on these 3 charts, like tables, like if you haven't seen someone really use Excel, please Google a video and watch it, and then you'll take it off your resume. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. I like that you Googled it, though. Like Gary said, Excel YouTube is magic.
Oh, it really is magic. I learned so much. So my experience as a master gunner and using Excel to maintain and track different types, we'll say ammunition or finance numbers is all it really is, but managing those numbers and understanding, projecting, not only for the future, but understanding the past and how we can get a little bit better. that directly correlated over to this business analyst position. So I had that experience. It wasn't financial, but I still had an understanding how to do something. I should say that's how they connected to each other.
Yeah. And then it kind of related once you got on the ground. Once you got there, you figured out how you could take that past experience, and it gave you the tools you needed to be able to learn this new skill set.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So when you got over there, were you the first intern they'd had?
I was the first intern that they had. They had never brought a military intern in, so it was quite the learning experience for them. Not only to get the access to certain things in there, but it was quite the learning experience for me, because March 4th, I was wearing the uniform as a Master Sergeant, and then March 5th, here I am as a intern at DLA Finance, trying to figure out how to be a business analyst.
And also to explain to them that you're not a college summer intern.
No.
That you're an experienced intern.
And that baffled them. Like, what do you mean you're in the Army still? How are you an intern here in the Army? Like, what do you mean you were in the Army yesterday and you're here now? It was kind of funny.
Awesome. So, understanding what the role was, then, I realized, how was it managing time? Did it seem weird to suddenly have a 40-hour work week?
That was a struggle on its own. So you kind of make your own hours, right? It's very business professional oriented. So as long as I was there between 6 and 9 a.m. and I worked an 8-hour day, then I would get off the rest of the day. So my supervisor would come around like, "Hey, Brad, you got to take a 15-minute break." And I'm like, "What? Why am I taking a 15-minute break?" Like, it's required. I'm like, "I don't need a 15-minute break." And they're like, "Just trust me, you have to take a 15-minute break." I'm like, "All right, okay." And then getting off I would go in at 6:30 just because I'm still trained mentally. So I'm in there at 6:30. I'd get done at 3 and I would come home, and I don't know what to do with myself now. And my wife was asking if I could go get some overtime and stay at work a little bit longer. So I'm joking. It was nice. It was able to actually reconnect with my family and understand how to decompress. And I built my skill bridge into my retirement process. I did this before I went and actually retired. So my 90-day intern just ended last week. I get my DD 214 and a retirement ceremony next week, and then I'm on 90 days of leave. And it is such a nice feeling to kind of disconnect from the military mindset. And then now I'm still learning today how to be a civilian, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, and for the people dialing in, I spoke with Brad about this earlier in his internship. Figuring out time and investment and being able to carve out time for yourself and finding things to do when maybe the mission isn't quite enough to fill your pot, or to fill your cup. It's all part of the transition, is finding that what is your balance, what is your equilibrium. You don't have to go 60, 70 hours a week like we did in the military every week. In fact, in SkillBridge, you're not allowed to do more than 40 hours.
Yep.
And so, it kind of like forces you in an accelerated timeline to kind of accept that, and keeps you from still going 60 hours a week during SkillBridge if your company's tracking it right. And I know DLA was. So
yeah.
So you learned about the job, but there's a hiring freeze.
Yep.
Right. And so, unless the hiring freeze goes away, there's challenges there. So first of all, I know that the DLA Finance team has said if they have the ability to hire you, they would do so. So like, that's great. But what else did you do during your internship to kind of like learn more and, maybe create additional opportunities?
Yes, sir. So the number one thing that I would recommend to anybody out there, have a positive attitude day to day and stay motivated. That was one of the primary factors of why I'm going to receive a phone call in the future, because I changed the attitude of an organization for the better. And when people are seeing that, there's people that are seeing you, either if they're not in your department, other departments are witnessing that and they're seeing how you approach things on a positive attitude and staying motivated. I was able to connect with a lot of other people. So towards the tail end of my internship, roughly 30 days beforehand, I just, on my 15-minute breaks, which I was trying to figure out what to do with for 15 minutes, I would just go walk around the building. The building has just under 2,000 people employed there. So I was walking around, shaking hands, introducing, giving my 30-second elevator pitch, and I made a connection there. Somebody who, much like you say on your podcast, sir, is do a little recon. So I did some reconning, and I met somebody who used to be in the military. He got out, and awesome guy. He took me under his wing, and he has spent hours and hours and hours with me, helping me understand the civilian world and their world at disposition services and also around this area. So it was a phenomenal experience for me to be able to get that opportunity.
I love it. I love it. It's so battlefield circulation. In fact, Gary Steensgaard, who says he can't do it either, excel. But Gary, when I heard his story, and even when he started his HR journey, one of the big things for him was battlefield circulation, getting out and talking to the other people in the building. And so I know you ran into one of the senior civilians there who is big into mentorship and, sat down and helped you with mock interviews, helped you get your resume together, helped connect you to opportunities, because the disposition services has defense industrial based positions that they can hire against right now. Yes, so they're not affected by the hiring freeze, which is exciting. So, whereas this is amazing to me because most people, veterans included, servicemen, come in and just do their job.
Yep.
And they think that if they show up and they just do their job well, quietly, from 9 to 5 or 6 to 3 or whatever, that they're going to go accelerate and create opportunity. And that could not be farther than the truth.
It's not
the quiet performer, the quiet professional in industry will stay in that job until they stop being quiet. Because no one's going to move them. They're not saying anything. They come in, they do it, they're fine. The high performers are the ones that do their job, but then also network within the organization. People have to know about you in order to call you for opportunities or think about you for opportunities. And so you taking that 15-minute break, turns out your supervisor was looking out for you by making you take that 15-minute breaks when normally you're like, I can't stand this. Like, you all are low performers, but they were looking out for you. Trust me, do it.
Yeah.
And you did. And now look, you ran in to the gentleman that will not be named right now, because I don't know if he'd be comfortable being named. But he didn't do it for glamour. He didn't do it for payback. He did it because he believes in mentorship.
Yep.
And now I think you've had several interviews already, right?
I have.
So you're interviewing right now for disposition services roles at Battle Creek, Michigan.
I am. So I've had 2 interviews already. I have a couple more coming up here in the future for different positions. There's so many positions at DLA and Battle Creek here. So I'm just going to keep on receiving the mentorship. He gave me his email and phone number, and I'm going to continue to just drink from the fire hose, as they say.
I love it. I love it. This is such an important key for anybody. I talk to so many people in SkillBridge internships, and they get locked into that one position, that one dream. They feel like it's their assignment or whatever, and they're locked in. And the reality is you're never locked in. There are people that, like, you were locked into war tech until the government said you're not allowed to hire anymore. Well, there goes that. You have people that are locked into great organizations that go through a financial change. I can imagine that the new administration, the federal hiring freezes and the evaluation of contracts, I mean, it's caused whole business units to go away for some major contracting firms. And so people, like, there were things lined up and all of a sudden it's like, it doesn't exist anymore. And so I will always tell people that whenever you get to an organization, immediately start networking outside of your inner circle, even if it's just to see how you can help them down the road. But having that FaceTime is going to be key. And I'm so glad it worked for you. Now I do have a couple questions, and I'm going to give you an opportunity for a final word to give advice, talk about your transition, whatever. I did see that Catherine said she needs help getting certs. So it's not USO doing it. It's Onward to Opportunity out of Syracuse IVMF. Onward to Opportunity will give you the online training to earn a certification, and they will pay for one exam. And that's service members, veterans, and military spouses and veteran spouses. So you can Google them. What I will tell you is you need to make sure that your cert that you're pursuing aligns with the job you want. I spent 30 hours taking the PMP cert, hating it the entire time, only to finally realize I want nothing to do with project management. And it's not that it's not a great career, it's that I hated every moment of it. And I would have been so much better getting an HR cert that would have aligned much better with my eventual career path. But definitely that's the way to go on that. And then, I do recommend the USO transition program. I have a webinar tonight, and I have a full mastering LinkedIn webinar later this month. They give you great support. And let's see, Tara, something tells me Tara probably is an Excel jet. It would not surprise me. She's tiny. I think she's like 5 foot tall, but she's an endurance athlete and powerful. And so, and then there you go, SkillBridge for the win. And it looks like, there you go, Gary agrees. It's about creating your opportunities. So, all right, as we approach 30 minutes, there aren't any other questions out there. So, Brad, give me a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want, like advice for people in the transition, advice for people in SkillBridge, advice for people that are considering DLA Finance, whatever you think.
Yes, sir. So I will tell the community out there that you are getting ready to jump into, for me anyways, the most emotional roller coaster that you have ever been through. I would rather be back over in the Middle East again than kind of go through what I just went through. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't take the opportunity to reach out and ask for help until I came across HireMilitary. And what I would recommend to anybody, this was my path, doing my SkillBridge up front and then going through the retirement process and then moving to terminal leave at the end. That was good for me because I'm decompressing from the military. For those of you that getting into a SkillBridge, hopefully DLA Finance, it was a great experience for me, a phenomenal experience because I was able to learn something different than what I'm used to. So I made myself uncomfortable. I learned something else. I kind of like finance. It's solving problems, a lot of problems, and it's a great opportunity. My experience gave me a nice letter of recommendation, a full page recommendation of what I did for the organization there in Battle Creek, which I can carry forward with me now for other job interviews for the future. So for anybody that's questioning SkillBridge or DLA Finance as a SkillBridge, I would do it. Just do it. Get the experience and the opportunity. Find your skills. Find what you like and what you love, and then move that forward in the future. So I can't talk I can't talk about how awesome the experience was. And then while you're there, you may not know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I had no clue what I was doing initially at first, but positive attitude and motivation, everything that I was taught when I was a young private through specialist came right back to me. Mm-hmm. Just be positive and just keep moving forward. You'll learn the skills over time, which I did, but that developed a good reputation for me, which carried me forward to where I am now.
And I love a couple things about it. I love that you're getting a little bit of the finance, the dollars and cents, the contracts, the financial analysis type stink to you, mm-hmm. which helps bridge the gap of your military skills into the public sector. So, one of the big things that usually has us kind of like is not understanding the business impact of what we do. And so, I talk about when you make decisions in the private sector, now you have to add another factor, and that's cost or return on investment, right? You got to make those decisions now because the money's coming from somewhere and it's not Congress. And so I like that you had that position, because I think you will see down the road, 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, you'll be like, wow, those things I learned there really did make a difference. So that's one thing. And then, number two, Gary's got a question up here about, well, what was the biggest adjustment for you culturally? Gary, I'm going to say it's stop calling everybody sir. He's called me sir like 25 times in this session, and he knows I'm a retired sergeant major. So, we got to get him past that. But
Mhm.
what was the biggest cultural adjustment for you?
I will tell you that I'll give you an example. So I had a medical appointment for my retirement process. DLA Finance was very flexible, and they asked you to put it on the calendar to let everybody know that you're going to be out of the office. Well, me being me, I put here's the time, here's the date, the location, here's the reason why I'm going. And I got a talking to the next day, which was a positive. It wasn't negative, but they said, hey, in the civilian world, like we don't get into your personal life like that out here. You can just tell us that you're going to be out of office for an appointment and the time and date. That's it. And I said, okay, that's so getting that mentality to understand. I don't even have anybody's phone number. They didn't even ask for my phone number. So there was no alert roster or anything. Like when you're off, you're off. Like there is no working outside of that.
Wow, that's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Everyone still has my phone number, so but when you're a business owner, you want them to call you whenever they have something. So no, I got it. Hey, Brad, thank you for joining us. I'd love to stay in touch as things go forward. Please let me know how everything goes. I have a really good feeling about you in these disposition service roles that are coming up, and I'm really excited that you will continue serving as a GS civilian. So continue supporting the war fighter and bringing that positive attitude, that can-do attitude, that work ethic to DLA in whatever manner we can. So thanks again for everything. And for anybody out there, I'm sure Brad's okay with it. Shoot him a connection request if you'd like to talk more, if you have any questions about experience. And, if you get a chance, go ahead and follow HireMilitary on LinkedIn and check out our active roles on HireMilitary.us. Go ahead. Oh, no, you can't now. No, you lost it. You said, sir.
Mr. Quinn, I'm Mike.
Thank you.
I'll get there. It's work in progress. I just want to say I started with Amber, but working with Tara and you, I just want to give credit to Tara because I found myself in some situations that I needed to reach out because I was just unfamiliar with things, and she helped me a lot. So for Tara, I seen you said something on here about Excel. Thank you for your hard work also at the same time. That meant a lot to me, and it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah. And then she called me when she was like, hey, I think you should talk to him. And she was like, and I'm like, sure, I would love to talk to him. And I enjoyed the conversation we had. So yeah, I mean, but this is the way we are, right? This is the way we roll. So, well, thanks again, Brad. Have a great day. And please let me know when you get that job offer.
I will do that for sure.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.